starts with breaking news.
New numbers just out showing the coronavirus surge continues in Allegheny County. The health department says it's learned of 172 new cases. The positive results are from tests done between July 3rd and yesterday. The youngest patient is 2 years old, the oldest 97. And 4 more people have been admitted to hospitals since yesterday. Health officials say testing is key in getting a grip on the virus. The FDA has given the go-ahead for Quest Diagnostic to begin pool testing for the coronavirus. That will allow samples from up to 4 people to be tested at once. The move will get more people tested faster. Channel 11's Mike Holden found out how it works.
This method of testing is being called a potential game changer in the fight against COVID-19. Experts say it could cut down on wait times and those extensive backlogs. Quest Diagnostics got the green light to use pooled samples or batch testing COVID-19 tests. The FDA recently gave emergency authorization for this measure to speed up results. The approach combines test samples in batches instead of running each test one by one. Labs would combine parts of samples from several people, like a family, and test them together instead of doing each individual. Experts say getting a negative result would clear everyone in that batch. A positive result would make every sample be individually retested. Proponents of this method say sample pooling saves money, expands testing, and also stretches supplies. Quest Diagnostics told Channel 11 in part, quote, "Pooled specimen testing is a proven technique that will help us to optimize testing capacity at this critical time for our country." Folks we spoke with say at this point, anything can make a difference.
We have to do something too, so whatever helps or whatever could help. I'm all for it.
I'm now working to get additional information from Quest Diagnostics about where they believe this method will work best. For Channel 11 News starting at 5 o'clock tonight. Reporting this afternoon, Mike Holden, Channel 11 News.
Today's the deadline for Pittsburgh public school students to enroll in remote learning. It's for anyone who wants their kids to learn from home full-time. You can enroll on the district's website. This will help the district decide how to distribute their resources. There are new concerns about how COVID-19 spreads among kids and its impact on children, as parents and teachers express deep concerns about the risk of returning to classrooms. NBC's Stephanie Gosk has the details.
As a new school year approaches, this morning, questions about COVID in the classroom are growing.
There is no way we can socially distance second graders.
While the president is pushing for a full reopening of schools across the country.
And we're not going to give them money if they're not going to school.
Experts warn the one-size-fits-all approach will simply not work.
A national mandate for schools to all operate under the same approach, I think, is a major mistake.
Many school districts across the country now deciding how to reopen. The nation's second biggest school district, Los Angeles, going all online this fall. Other big cities like New York and Chicago considering a mix of remote and in-person learning.
I think the hybrid model was the best option for us because in-person instruction is extremely important.
As many school systems weigh their options and evaluate data, a large and systematic new study out of South Korea suggests kids younger than 10 spread the disease less, about half as much as adults. But children above the age of 10 can spread the virus at the same rate as adults.
Older kids, those teenagers, get infected more frequently than younger kids. And that it's something we do have to be mindful of as we bring kids back to school.
In Arizona, where COVID cases are surging, third-grade teacher Stacy Broshish is afraid of going back too soon.
We all want to be back to the classroom. That's what teachers miss more than anything, but we want them to do it safely.
Broshish has been organizing motor marches. Dozens of teachers driving painted cars, hoping to call attention to the dangers they say teachers will face if schools reopen too soon.
I don't want my third graders to have to attend my funeral. I don't want to attend one of my third graders' funerals. That is the trauma that I think people should be talking about.
There are legal concerns as well. Who is liable if people get sick? 3 national organizations that represent public school leaders have asked for legislation protecting school districts that follow all appropriate health guidelines from being sued. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News.
Breaking news from the Penguins. The 9 players that were held out of training camp as a precaution have been cleared to rejoin the team. Right now, the second team scrimmage is underway at the UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex in Cranberry. And we're working to find out what's up with Penguins captain Sidney Crosby. He has not taken the ice in today's scrimmage, and he missed yesterday's practice. He left Saturday's intra-squad scrimmage in the second period and didn't return. The team is not allowed to comment or provide details because of the league's latest policy on players' health information. Before the pause this season, player absences weren't anything new for the Pens. The team adjusted and adapted to losing key players like Crosby, Jake Gensel, and Brian Dumoulin at various points during the year. Dumoulin telling us how he believes the Pens' experience with being so injury-plagued this past season actually plays in their favor heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's something that we've done all this year. It seems like we've never really had a full lineup throughout this whole year, and always at some point someone was injured, and a lot of the times you don't even have time to think about it.
The team is set to leave for Toronto this Sunday for the Stanley Cup qualifiers. The Penguins take on Montreal in a best-of-5 series starting August 1st. Another hot day, but the humidity is a little lower. Let's head over to meteorologist Danielle Dozier in Severe Weather Center 11.
Yeah, it feels very comfortable considering over the weekend we had those dew points near 70 degrees in spots, and out there right now it is beautiful. It's 83 degrees, still very warm day, but that heat index is 83 as well. 84 in Greensburg right now. It's 83 Washington and in Beaver. Check out the dew points. They're still a little sticky in spots, so right around Washington and Greensburg still have a little bit of humidity, but as the numbers continue to fall, that humidity will continue to lower throughout the rest of the day. Good running forecast for sure. We've got temperatures that are going to be in the 80s through 7 and 8 o'clock, and then 9 o'clock right around 83. We are going to stay dry as well across much of the area. Some of us could see a stray shower this afternoon. I'll show you where. Plus, I am tracking another round of thunderstorms moving in on Tuesday. I'll have the latest timing on those coming up in my full forecast.
We're checking today to find out anything more on a scary situation at Sandcastle Water Park. Viewer video captured the scene yesterday as a crowd surrounded an unconscious man on the ground. Much of the video shared with Channel 11 is too disturbing to air, including footage of the man being pulled from the mushroom pool and medics trying to revive him.
Man, I was nervous. I seen my kid's face. He was really nervous. You know, he kind of had this kind of cringe look on his face.
Park officials say lifeguards and medics responded immediately. They directed further questions to the West Homestead Police Department. A week full of services is planned to remember a longtime member of local fire departments. Visitation begins tomorrow for Chief Robert Full. He died Friday at the age of 65. Full was the former chief of emergency services and helped create the Allegheny County 911 system. A public safety service will be held Wednesday, and his funeral is on Thursday. It's the last week. It's the last week for people filing for unemployment that they can claim that extra $600 a week. The Federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation Fund, which Congress passed as part of the CARES Act in March, allocated the money from April until July 25th. Congress is back in session, and lawmakers are racing against the clock to pass another round of coronavirus relief. Our Serena Marshall explains the sticking points in the negotiations.
The White House is pushing back on a request from Senate Republicans to boost funding for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention that would allow states to do more testing and contact tracing. The Trump administration argues the CDC is adequately funded. It wants to zero out the $25 billion GOP senators want to give to the CDC, Pentagon, and State Department to address the pandemic, even as testing delays nationwide continue and the death toll continues to climb.
There is no question that we're having a surge right now. We are approaching this with extreme seriousness. We have CDC teams in every single state.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is also clashing with the White House on school funding. He said it needs to be heavily emphasized in the next relief package. Then there are the key sticking points between the parties. McConnell has called providing legal protections for businesses, hospital workers, and teachers a red line. Then there's unemployment relief. The $600 unemployment benefit that started at the beginning of the pandemic expires at the end of this week. And while both sides agree more money is needed, how much is where the agreement stops. Reporting from outside Washington, I'm Serena Marshall, Channel 11 News.
While we grieve the loss of this legend, we are blessed to know that he touched so many people.
The family of civil rights icon John Lewis is thanking everyone for their kind words and condolences. Lewis's younger brother read a statement celebrating the congressman. He shared personal stories and said Lewis fought until the very end, calling him a great father and husband.
To keep his legacy alive by helping anyone that you see that need help, and make the world more just and a better place to live.
Lewis died Friday after losing his battle with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. A protest is expected to cause some traffic issues along Route 51 in the South Hills later today. Whitehall police say the protest will start near Brentwood Town Square, and it's likely to move towards Streets Run Road. The protest is set to begin at 3 and run until 7. A wall of moms in Portland, Oregon. Dozens of moms marched to the federal courthouse to call for police reform and an end to systemic racism. Many of the moms also protested Saturday and were gassed by federal officers as they moved protesters away from the courthouse. Portland has been the site of many clashes between protesters and law enforcement over the past 7 weeks, and there have been some controversial arrests. Reed Binion has the latest.
Our community has had enough. Our business owners have had enough. Our officers have had enough, and Portland has had enough.
Portland Police Association President Daryl Turner addressing the city's weekend protests, which authorities declared a riot after police say the association's office was set on fire. Nearly 2 months of protests against racial inequality and police brutality have followed the police killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis. Recent controversy in Portland has focused on the unidentified federal officers arresting protesters. Department of Homeland Security officers have been seen on camera making arrests and putting protesters into unmarked vehicles. And Customs and Border Protection has acknowledged its agents were also involved in arresting protesters. Oregon's Attorney General is suing the DHS.
These federal agencies are operating with no transparency and against the will of just about every leader in our state.
Those leaders include the governor and U.S. Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon. Portland's mayor also speaking out.
People are being literally scooped off the street into unmarked vans, denied due process. As far as I can see, this is completely unconstitutional.
Protests also playing out in Seattle over the weekend, which resulted in arrests, damage to police property, and one officer being taken to a hospital, according to the Seattle Police Department. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Paying extra for everything from barbecue to dental work. The added cost of coronavirus just ahead. And another casualty from the pandemic. The local company shutting down restaurants and laying off hundreds of workers.
Dry today for many of us, but thunderstorms are making a comeback. I've got the latest timing on when more rain will roll into the area.
Channel 11 News brings you the latest details.
New statewide restrictions on restaurant capacity.
We brought you the governor's remarks live on the air.
Big changes coming within the next few hours.
Watch Channel 11 News at 5 and 6 p.m. Pandemic has created a breeding ground for puppy scammers.
I just don't see it, how people can be that heartless.
How criminals preyed on this local family when all they wanted was a dog, and the red flags they want you to know about. Tonight at 5.
Watch Channel 11 News at 6.
Followed by NBC Nightly News at 6:30.
A major restaurant group is shutting down some of its restaurants for now. The Big Burrito Restaurant Group says it cannot operate a number of its restaurants under the latest COVID-19 guidelines. The restrictions call for just 25% capacity indoors. Included on the list of places are 11, Kaya, Soba, and Umi. The president of the restaurant group says they'll lay off a couple hundred workers. He also said they're constantly evaluating how to reopen some or all their restaurants as the situation evolves.
25% of the seats in the dining room here are Kaya. You know, that's 10 people that I can feed if it rains outside. Right. And we can't do it. We just can't do it.
Big Burrito Group also owns Mad Mex restaurants, and those are staying open. You're ready to pay a little extra for many of the items that we use every day. NBC's Stephanie Rule has the details behind the new coronavirus surcharge.
In Missouri, an extra 5% tacked on for barbecue. In North Carolina, an extra $10 on the dental bill.
We need to spread the pain around just a little bit.
And at this restaurant in Chicago, a whopping 26% fee added to each bill.
This was just a real power struggle for us to be able to stay in business.
They eventually rolled it back. As the pandemic raises operating costs, businesses from coast to coast are adding a new line to their bills, a COVID surcharge.
I saw that surcharge on the receipt and I wouldn't pay a tip at all. It's another greedy hand in my pocket.
Businesses have made big changes to reopen safely, from setting up outdoor dining to plexiglass protections, all of which cost a whole lot of money, prompting many businesses to raise prices just to stay afloat.
Nobody tells you what to do. There's no COVID salon playbook.
In New Jersey, the Coco Bon Spa is back open after 99 days with new COVID precautions like masks, gloves, and protective barriers.
We decided to implement a COVID surcharge.
With the new costs and rising prices for even her standard supplies, owner Erin McCabe is passing along some costs to customers. How does the COVID surcharge work?
The COVID surcharge is just a $2.50 surcharge that is applied to each bill.
Some retail analysts think the surcharge could backfire.
A lot of people really feel that there's a gotcha to this, and we as consumers have the right to decide where we want to shop, and I think that's the risk for these companies that put in a surcharge that may not be popular.
For Erin at the Coco Bon Spa, she says the surcharge is a necessary cost of doing business in the pandemic.
That $2.50 as a surcharge is not for us to make money. It's just to stay afloat.
Stephanie Rule, NBC News, New Jersey.
Delta says it's cracking down on passengers who say they can't wear a mask. It says people who can't cover their faces for medical reasons should consider staying home. If they do want to fly, Delta will require those passengers to first complete a health screening test over the phone. And Delta will use the results to determine if a given traveler can board its aircraft without a mask. American Airlines is rolling out a new touchless check-in experience. Customers can indicate how many bags they plan to check on the American Airlines app or website. When they arrive at the check-in kiosk, they can scan the boarding pass on their phone or one they printed out from home. The kiosk then prints the bag tags, all without the customer having to touch the kiosk. This new technology will be in place in more than 230 airports. Check this out, a massive wave of sludge in Arizona. The sludge began to flow when wildfires charred the ground, making it unable to absorb water. After showers, the water started flowing down a channel, taking all that debris that was left by the fire. The wildfire had burned 120,000 acres. Thousands of people had to evacuate.
Your severe weather Team 11 forecast.
Good Monday afternoon. Taking a look at our visible satellite, we had a little bit of cloud cover out there earlier this morning, and then we have cleared out a lot of the cloud cover. We're seeing some sunshine across much of the area, so grab your sunglasses before you head out today. The other thing you've probably noticed, it's not quite as hot as it was yesterday. We're at 83 right now in Pittsburgh. It's still a warm day, but we're not going to be touching the 90s like we did on Sunday. 84 in Greensburg right now. It's 81 in Indiana and 81 in Butler. Here's a look at our 90-degree days. We have had 11 so far this year. The average is 7, and our warmest day so far this year, 94 degrees officially in the Pittsburgh area. Great afternoon for heading to the pool if you want to soak up the sun and splash around in the water. Looking pretty good for that. We've got temperatures that are going to be in the upper 80s this afternoon, forecasting a high of 88 and about 85 degrees at 8 p.m. Full-on sunshine with a few fair weather clouds from time to time. As we head through the rest of the afternoon, we're going to keep a mostly sunny sky across a good part of the area. A stray shower or a thunder shower can entirely be ruled out along the border and our far southern counties. I think places like Morgantown, there in West Virginia, as well as parts of Maryland, could get in on a shower or a thunderstorm. Model data has been hinting at potentially up in Greene and Fayette County. We'll keep our eye on it. There's a front that is stalled across the area down there with the heating of the day. Could combine to produce a couple of showers down there. Aside from that, the rest of us are looking at an increase in cloud cover overnight tonight. We're looking at a little bit of fog into tomorrow morning as well. Coming up in the next half hour, we'll take a look at Fog Tracker, show you where it could be a little thick in spots. Here's a look as we go forward into the middle part of the day. We're looking at some showers and thunderstorms coming into the forecast. I'll show you the Tuesday afternoon weather as well coming up in the next half hour. As far as tonight goes, we're looking at a low down to 66 with some calm winds and areas of fog and increasing clouds, so it won't be as mild as what we had out there this morning, which was our forecast low of 72. 88 for the day tomorrow. Scattered showers and thunderstorms will become likely, so before you head out the door tomorrow, grab your raincoat, your umbrella. You're going to need it from time to time. We're going to have light and variable winds. Still a very warm day tomorrow as well. Mostly cloudy to partly sunny sky. 89 degrees in Washington, 87 in Uniontown, double 8s in Greensburg and in Indiana. 5-day forecast with your weekend always in view. 88 Tuesday goes to 86 on Wednesday. Wednesday, we're going to have quite the cloud cover with scattered showers and thunderstorms returning to the forecast. We'll keep it unsettled from time to time as we head into Thursday with 86. Your low temperatures are coming up into the upper 60s and low 70s. And by now, we all know that when that happens, that means that humidity is coming up. So it's going to be higher humidity for the middle of the week. Friday into the weekend we go, and we have mostly sunny skies for Friday and Saturday. The way it looks right now, about 86 on Saturday. Shower and storm chances return in our forecast as we head into Sunday, but we do look like we're going to still be pretty warm. Upper 80s on Sunday. Low temperatures over the weekend, still in the upper 60s and low 70s.
Thanks, Danielle. New research suggests unborn babies get coronavirus. The precautions health officials say pregnant women need to take. First, how does 3D printed chicken sound for dinner? The lab test underway at KFC.
Channel 11 News at 5 and 6 p.m. brings you the latest details on the coronavirus.
331 new coronavirus cases.
While hospitalizations are up, experts say the hospitals in this region have not been overwhelmed.
We brought you the governor's remarks live on the air this afternoon.
We have got to act now.
Big changes coming within the next few hours.
This really affects bars and restaurants, especially the ones that are already struggling.
Watch Channel 11 News every day at 5 and 6 p.m.
severe weather coverage where you live.
On Channel 11 News.
Senator Chuck Schumer says he plans to introduce legislation today to help save the Postal Service. Mail volume is down 30% since the start of the pandemic, but Schumer says delivery has to continue. It's on top of the millions they've spent on PPE. Schumer will request around $28 billion.
And this critical lifeline, the post office, could be forced to go out of business, to turn off the lights, to shut the doors, unless they get an immediate infusion of cash from the federal government.
Schumer says he doesn't want this problem to affect the election when it comes to mail-in voting. T-Mobile is declaring war against robocalls. The wireless provider is packaging several older features into a new program called Scam Shield. It includes free caller ID and call blocking. Customers can also change their number for free if they've been flooded with robocalls. Scam Shield will be available to all T-Mobile, Sprint, and Metro PCS customers on Friday. KFC is trying to create the world's first lab-produced chicken nuggets as part of its Restaurant of the Future concept. The chain is working with a Russian 3D printing company to develop technology to print chicken meat using chicken cells and plant material. KFC will provide the firm with ingredients such as breading and spices to achieve the signature KFC taste. KFC says the bioprinted nuggets will be available for final testing in Moscow this fall. Election day is fast approaching, why officials are looking for young people to work at the polls. And new guidelines for nursing homes, how local homes are dealing with the rise in cases.
Still ahead, we'll take a look at Fog Tracker, where some of that fog could be thick into your Tuesday morning and when those thunderstorms will be rolling throughout the day.
This is Channel 11 News 11 at 11. Accurate details, experienced coverage, trusted weather source.
I'm tracking a strong storm moving into Greensburg.
All in the first 11 minutes of our newscast. Count on Channel 11 News 11 at 11 tonight.
Channel 11 News and NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
We're a team you can count on to cover stories that impact your life.
Whether it's across the street or around the world.
Channel 11 News at 6.
And NBC Nightly News at 6:30.
Channel 11 News 11 at 11. 11 minutes of news and weather before the first commercial.
The state health department says it's learned of 711 new cases of coronavirus statewide. That includes 172 new cases in Allegheny County. There are 21 new cases in both Washington and Westmoreland counties and 10 each in Beaver and Fayette counties. Another Pirates player has tested positive. Manager Derek Shelton says third base prospect Brian Hayes has the virus. Hayes has not been active during the camp and he is in quarantine. Hayes is now the fourth Pirates player to test positive for the virus. Outfielder Gregory Polanco tested positive just this past Friday. Blake Cedarland and Socrates Brito have both tested positive when they were first arrived at camp. Brito has since returned to camp last weekend. Sports teams have submitted plans to the State Department of Health to have fans in the stands. The Wolf administration wouldn't say which organizations have submitted plans. It also wouldn't say whether it has approved any. The administration did say it continues to discourage spectators or fans from attending games to prevent transmission of the virus. The state issued new guidance for Pennsylvanians living at nursing homes and their families as they grapple with COVID-19. The virus has killed almost 4,800 nursing home residents since the start of the pandemic. That is more than 2/3 of all deaths in the state. Channel 11's Angie Moreski breaks down how local nursing homes are faring.
We pored over the latest numbers on nursing home COVID cases since the end of June to see if there's been a spike that correlates with the spike we're seeing in southwestern Pennsylvania and statewide. The first thing I noticed going over the data was a spike in cases at an Allegheny County nursing home in Coriopolis. West Hills Rehab went from 0 cases in June to nearly 50 cases this week, with 11 deaths and 22 cases among workers.
We just were reviewing the data and we saw the numbers that seem to have spiked up pretty significantly.
We called West Hills about its spike in cases. A spokesperson responded quickly. The facility attributes the increase to testing in June and said in a statement, many of the residents are asymptomatic and that they are continuing to take significant measures to protect all residents and staff. To the residents and their families, they say they know this is an unsettling and scary time and that they are doing everything in their power to keep residents and staff protected.
It's very alarming because what we've seen in every study that we've looked at, community spread equals spread in our long-term care facilities.
The data also showed a spike in cases for Monroeville Rehab and Wellness. It showed 0 cases in June, but now shows a jump to 9 resident cases and 5 among employees.
This is Angie Moreski calling from WPXI.
I called Monroeville Rehab and emailed questions, but I'm still waiting for a response. It is owned by the same company that owns Brighton Rehab in Beaver County, which was at the center of a major outbreak in May. This week, Brighton only reported 2 new cases among staff. The Allegheny County-run Kane Glen Hazel facility did see a spike with about a dozen new cases.
Our calls for testing, our calls for PPE or personal protective equipment for our nursing homes are going to be even louder, especially as we're seeing these higher numbers.
Overall, most facilities in our region are not seeing major increases and seem to be managing fairly well. We have a link to the full Auditor General's Guide for nursing homes on our website, WPXI.com. Ohio's governor says his state is heading in the wrong direction. He told NBC's Meet the Press the state could become Florida as coronavirus cases surge.
You wear the mask for other people. You wear the mask to protect your grandmother. You wear the mask too. And so it's not just the orders. The orders are obviously important, but getting people to buy in and to understand.
DeWine has not made masks mandatory. He hopes people will do the right thing, but he's also said there will be more orders coming this week. New research suggests unborn children can contract coronavirus in the womb. Health experts explained to Channel 11's Serena Marshall that while rare, there's still precautions pregnant women need to take.
Still so many questions about COVID-19, but new research out of France, when coupled with a recent study of more than 24 pregnant women from Italy, paints the most compelling picture yet. Yes, COVID-19 can cross the placenta, but it's rare.
This study from France was a really careful and comprehensive investigation with a variety of samples. They took samples from the baby, they took samples from the mom, they tested amniotic fluid, and it really provides the most compelling evidence that COVID can be transmitted from mother to the baby during pregnancy.
The baby in the report from France has gone home, and doctors caution transmission is rare. Only a handful of cases have been documented out of the millions of COVID-19 cases worldwide. One likely reason comes from research from the National Institutes of Health, which found there aren't very many of the tools the virus uses to enter cells available in the placenta. Doctors say this new research, though, reinforces the need for those who are pregnant or planning on becoming pregnant to avoid infection. That means avoid crowds, wash your hands, and wear a mask. Reporting from outside Washington, I'm Serena Marshall, Channel 11 News.
State and local officials are trying to recruit younger workers to staff polling locations on Election Day. They say they're worried older workers won't show up because of health concerns. About 2/3 of poll workers across the U.S. are over 61 years old. That puts them at a higher risk of catching COVID-19. Some states are teaming up with professional groups like realtors and state bar associations, offering poll workers credits for continuing education classes. Ohio has a program to encourage high schoolers to work election sites. Still hot, but the humidity is dropping. Let's head over to meteorologist Danielle Dozier, tracking changes in severe weather Center 11.
Hey, that's some good news, right? It's been such a humid weekend and really last week, too. So we're getting a little bit of a break as our humidity levels come down. This is a look at our current heat index. It feels like 83 in Pittsburgh, which is actually the air temperature because our dew point is so low. It's 85, the feels like in Washington, feels like 86 in Greensburg. Definitely beats the feels like that we had over the weekend, which was in some spots in the lower 100s. As far as your grilling forecast today, 88 the high temperature, about 86 at 7. Great weather if you want to throw some hot dogs on the grill here tonight. As we head into the overnight, we're going to increase the clouds. We could see some areas of fog as well. Fog tracker shows a little bit of gray showing up here and there, especially valley fog, and some low-lying areas could get in on that. Could be locally dense in spots. White color shows that more dense fog, and so that could limit your visibility when you're heading out early on Tuesday morning. I still have your thunderstorm forecast for the day Tuesday. Who sees the strongest coming up in several minutes?
Drivers are being reminded to move their parked cars as the city prepares for new road projects. Today, crews began resurfacing streets as part of a $15.7 million project. This includes these streets in the Beachview, Overbrook, and Brookline areas. Drivers will either get a robocall from the city or you'll see a flyer on your windshield 48 hours in advance. A treasure hunt worth a fortune. Why a business is burying millions of dollars in jewelry. And a couple put on house arrest. Why the couple refused to sign self-quarantine papers.
Hi, I'm Lisa Robertson, and we've been bringing you a special version of Local Steals and Deals, where we shine a spotlight on amazing companies and their passionate founders. Small businesses really are the backbone of America, and we need them to thrive now more than ever. With Local Steals and Deals, we bring you exclusive offers from these brands on products that make your life safer, brighter, and more fun at a time when we all really need it. Join us in making a difference. Simply pick up your phone and text USA to 65,000 to learn more.
News is happening in your neighborhood. Channel 11 News is there.
We're in McCandless, Cranberry, and Butler. We cover news everywhere you live, not just downtown. We're in Aliquippa, Coriopolis, and Moon.
Bringing you stories that impact your town. That's what makes Channel 11 News different.
More local news from more neighborhoods. That's a fact. We're in Bethel Park, South Park, and Mount Lebanon. When you want news from where you live,
watch Channel 11 News at 5.
Watch David Johnson and Peggy Finnegan on Channel 11 News at 5.
Hundreds of people packed the streets in Queens, New York, in clear defiance of the state's social distancing rules. When police were called in, they were outnumbered and could not enforce safety measures. The sight caught the attention of New York City's mayor, who promised increased enforcement in the area. The partying could threaten area businesses who faced a new 3-strike rule from the governor.
I'm living here in Astoria 21 years. I never see the street so dirty like the way it is right now. Yeah. As you can even... You know, when I look, I was so impressed. It's very bad.
Restaurants and businesses face a shutdown for repeated violations. A Kentucky couple is under house arrest. The move made after one of them tested positive for COVID-19 and refused to sign self-quarantine documents. The wife was planning to go visit her parents out of state, so she got tested. Well, she tested positive without showing symptoms. Health officials asked her to sign documents saying she would limit her travel unless she called the health department first. When she didn't sign, the sheriff's department showed up at her home with ankle monitors.
And that's exactly what the director of the public health department had told the judge, that I was refusing to self-quarantine because of this. And I'm like, that's not the case at all. I never said that.
The couple argues they never said they wouldn't self-quarantine. They just didn't agree with the wording of the documents. The ankle monitors notify police if they travel more than 200 feet. Have you gone back to the dentist yet? There are a lot of changes to keep you safe. Why dentists say routine care at home is now more important than ever.
Great weather this afternoon for many of us. That's going to be changing, unfortunately, tomorrow. I'm tracking more thunderstorms, and I've got your latest humidity forecast when we come back.
You're streaming WPXI now. Channel 11 expands its streaming live newscasts. When other stations are national, Channel 11 News is local, right here at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. on WPXI Now.
Nobody can read between the lines.
She's an 18-year-old girl. She got a settlement. You saw a little money. You wanted a big red truck.
Like Judge Judy.
Shiny, shiny, shiny red truck.
Judge Judy, weekdays at 4 and 4:30 on Channel 11. Make sure you know everything happening in the morning. Watch Channel 11 Morning News.
Dental offices are back open, but it's far from business as usual. Everything from check-in to protective gear to the actual dental work is changing. Of course, the goal is to minimize the risk of spreading the virus. Sarah Dolph shows you what you could expect at your next checkup.
Temperature checks, face shields, and new sanitizing measures. Routine visits to the dentist are anything but right now.
We're working with one of the dirtiest orifices in the body, if not the dirtiest.
According to the American Dental Association, about 97% of dental practices nationwide are back open in some capacity. The association has released new recommendations advising pre-screenings for patients, additional protective gear, and when possible, the use of hand tools that don't generate aerosol spray.
People should feel absolutely safe returning to the dentist.
42% of dental offices say patient volumes are back to pre-COVID levels, while 55% report they're lower than normal. The ADA worries those who delay procedures or even cleanings where many issues are first detected could face greater problems later.
In some instances, having an infection in your mouth can actually up your risk of developing serious illnesses like diabetes, or even a brain infection that can lead to death. So not something you want to mess around with.
And dentists say routine brushing and flossing at home is more important than ever, especially if a second wave forces the closure of practices once again. Sarah Dolph, NBC News.
Your severe weather Team 11 forecast.
Taking a look outside right now, we have that beautiful sunshine. You'll need those sunglasses before you head out. Check out the heat index. It's only 83. Very comfortable feel to the air and a little bit of a breeze today out of the west. We have a cold front that's going to be coming into the area, and that's going to continue to allow those dew point numbers to fall, which means our humidity falls as well. 82 in Indiana right now. It's 86 in Beaver. Still a very warm day, but look at these dew point numbers. Really comfortable air moving into Beaver. 60 in Pittsburgh. Still sticky, though, feeling down to the south. These are places that could get in on a stray shower today because we still have that moisture in place, but mainly focused there along the border if anything at all develops here today. Humidity forecast as we head into the next couple of days. We're going to notice that front that is down to the south, leading to some of that muggy weather. Well, that's going to continue to gradually lift to the north, and with time, that's going to be ushering in more moisture to the area. So it's going to start to feel more sticky on Tuesday, and then terribly humid again by Wednesday and Thursday, unfortunately. Here's our storm tracker maps as you plan your day for the rest of the afternoon. 4 o'clock, you can see dry conditions across the area. Here's a stray shower potentially moving through those southern counties and along the border there of West Virginia and Maryland late day and evening. So if anything develops down there, we'll keep an eye on it for you, let you know. But overnight tonight, an increase in cloud cover and some fog into your Tuesday morning, which could limit visibility in spots. Low-lying areas and valleys most likely getting in on some of that fog as well. In the morning, we could get in on some stray showers and then thunderstorms by late morning into midday. So if you are heading out and about between, let's say, noon and 1 o'clock for lunch, you could be running into some locally heavy downpours. You can see those showing up in red on our map. Also some gusty winds with the strongest thunderstorms for the day tomorrow. Lightning is a threat in any thunderstorm. So, of course, we'll be tracking cloud to ground lightning for the day. You're going to want your umbrella before you head out the door, and stick with Severe Weather Team 11 as we track these storms that are going to be moving across the area through tomorrow evening. As far as your morning planner goes, the temperatures in the morning will be cooler than what we've had over the last couple of mornings, which was temperatures in the lower 70s. We're looking for lows in the mid 60s, and then by 6 and 7 o'clock, we're at 68 degrees. 88 for the daytime high tomorrow, similar to today, but scattered showers and storms will be moving through from time to time. Those winds will be light and variable. The humidity again will be up, so the heat index value is approaching 90 in some locations. 5-day forecast with your weekend always in view. Once we get past Tuesday, we're looking at scattered showers and storms on Wednesday. Some of those could be on the stronger side as well. 86 degrees for the afternoon high. Low temperatures are coming up into the upper 60s and low 70s until we get into the end of the week. We'll start to see those dip a little bit. Thursday's high about 86, a few showers and storms. While it is not going to be as hot as what we had last week, keep in mind these temperatures are still above average. Average is 83 for this time of year. Dry on Friday, dry on Saturday. Your weekend always in view. Plenty of sunshine the way it appears right now, but more showers and storms look to return as we head into the latter half of your weekend.
General Motors plans to build a full-size electric Chevy pickup with a range of 400 miles. GM has said it's changing the chemistry of its batteries to reduce the amount of cobalt they use and make them more cost-efficient. The electric truck will be one of 20 electric vehicles GM plans to release by 2023. Consumer advisor Clark Howard has warned against giving out your Social Security number when you go to the doctor, and Clark says that warning holds true when you get a test for COVID-19 as well.
One of the weirdest things people have been asking me through what we've been going through with trying to get coronavirus tests is being asked for their Social Security number, or being handed a form with a blank to fill in the Social Security number. There is no legitimate business reason that I can find for any tester to want your Social Security number, and that opens you up to identity theft wide open. So leave that blank on the form. They've got to give you a really, really great reason why they need that social. I know of none. What you're there for is to get a test for coronavirus, and they should just give you the test and give you the information you went there for in the first place without your Social Security number. I'm Clark Howard.
And now here's local steals and deals.
Hi, I'm Lisa Robertson, and I have the best idea for you with local steals and deals. Right now, we're sanitizing, we're cleaning, we're disinfecting, right? A million times, a million ways. Oh my gosh. How would you like to have something do it for you with no chemicals? What? I know. This is from 4ID, and it's the best idea ever. So here are the options we have for you. This is the large. So this is simply, they call it a lunch bag, but it's a large bag. You open this up, you put whatever you want to sterilize in here, right? You close it, you plug it in and turn it on and walk away. It does it for you. Then you have the medium. Same thing. You want to sanitize something, you put it in here, you close it, you turn it on, you walk away. You close it, you turn it on, you walk away. There's even a phone sanitizer. You put your phone in there, you close it, you turn it on, you walk away. There's even a wand for taking it on the go. And here's the best part. You walk in the door and you put your keys in here. Are your keys sterile? No. Do you touch them all the time? Yes. You put your keys in here, you put your jewelry in here, you put your wallet in here, you put your gloves in here, you put your mask in here. And by the way, everyone else in the household does. Everybody puts their stuff in here. And then they close it, and they turn it on, and they walk away, and it's not using any chemicals. I love that. You don't have to use chemicals because these are actually using UV light, and they're giving you 99.9% sterilization rate. That is amazing. I love the fact that this is part of your new routine. I love the fact that this is by your back door, and everything on you goes in here. I love the fact that if you have a baby around, all the baby stuff goes in here because they keep putting everything in their mouths. I love the fact that who wants to think about, wait a minute, this is my favorite ring. I keep wearing it. I bet it's not sterile. I'm going to put it in here. Some jewelry, you don't want to wash your hands with the jewelry on because it might not be good for the jewelry. Put it in here. There's a million reasons, but there's one way, and that's putting it in here, closing it, turning it on, walking away. If you go to localsteals.com right now, all of these great ideas are 40 to 43% off. It's just one of the amazing ideas we have for you, and I guarantee you're going to want a bunch of them.
You hear us say Channel 11 News 11 at 11 all the time.
But this is what it means.
It means you get 11 minutes of news and weather before the first commercial.
It means we deliver breaking news, local news happening now, and details about what's happened since 6.
All before the first commercial.
11 at 11 means I'll track storms and bring you your first look at weather before the first commercial.
Channel 11 News 11 at 11.
11 minutes of news and weather before the first commercial.
Watch tonight.
Nobody can read between the lines like Judge Judy.
As Apple gets ready to release new images, including a ninja, a boomerang, a piñata, and a bubble tea. Also a set of lungs and a heart. They'll likely be released in September or October. The company that creates most of the images says there will be no new emojis next year. They say it takes an army of volunteers to create them, and because of the pandemic, they're focused on other things. You could be part of a real-life treasure hunt. A Michigan couple came up with the idea after the pandemic forced them to close their family jewelry store. They decided to hide leftover inventory all over the state. We're talking about rings, coins, and pieces of gold and silver. Each treasure is worth about $4,000, they say. You can get a clue to the treasure for $49. The treasure hunt starts August 1st. Steelers legend Terry Bradshaw gave a Texas-sized Start Your Engines. Bradshaw was the Grand Marshal for the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 yesterday. The guy knows a little something about racing, too. Bradshaw was part owner of a NASCAR team for 5 years in the early 2000s.
Please welcome acclaimed.
That's all for Channel 11 News at noon. Our next newscast is tonight at 5. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
Breaking News Desk is really an invaluable tool.
You're going to get breaking news as it's happening. You can